Hey Adam, Jesse here. This is my official video submission for the assignment number 4, part 2 of the COVID-19 posters. Got my Peruvian sweater on here. Got some nice little alpacas. Got this bad boy when I did Machu Picchu 2 years ago. Kind of just paying homage to the country of my choosing, which is Peru. So let's dive in here. Question 1. Highly important or impactful aspects of your research that need specific emphasis. My biggest takeaway that I got while making this poster was just kind of the interrelations of the Hofstede insights and how the country actually handled the pandemic, especially in the early stages. So you can see, like, with the insights, the power distance, Peru has a relatively high power distance ranking, basically meaning that they're more accepting of force, like military force in their society. And that's exactly what they did. The president released 150,000 military professionals into the streets to maintain quarantine rules right off the bat, right off the beginning of the pandemic. That's crazy to me. They had super strict quarantine rules, and if you got outside, you're going to be arrested. I mean, I couldn't even imagine that happening here in Canada. Super low individualism ranking, meaning that they're a very collective society, and also very low long-term very low long-term orientation, which means that they're focus on achieving quick results right away and have a small propensity to save for the future. If you look at Peru now, there's riots. A lot of the people are really anxious to get back to work. There was a huge protest and violent protest in the streets the other day for street vendors that were trying to get back to work because they have no money and they need money to live. They need money to pay for their funerals and stuff. And just the military force that was put upon them was pretty crazy. But the country itself is kind of uniting as a singular unit to try and get through this. But you can really see that they're focusing on the quick results here. They're not really waiting to let the curve kind of flatten down. It's pretty crazy too. Peru got hit really hard. It was hit the second highest in Latin America, just behind Brazil. And Brazil got hit hard. Has the second most infections in the entire world. And so Peru bordering Brazil is pretty scary. They have Peru has 7,000 infections per million, which is definitely on the higher scale in comparison to other countries. But I just thought it was super cool how looking at the Hofstede insights that were obviously published before the pandemic, how they really played a factor in predicting how the country would react in such an unprecedented situation like the pandemic here. Next question, prediction on what will happen to your country in the next coming months. They're kind of in the rough right now. Like I just said, Peru got hit really hard and it's just decimated their economy like many other countries have. But Peru being a country that is more low income and is more second world, the whole complete stop on their major industries, especially the mining industry, has just dismantled the economy. There's riot police on the street trying to kick off the street vendors. The nation's still in a nationwide lockdown. They've had 230,000 infections and 65,000 deaths, which is huge for a relatively smaller country. Yes, the economy has sunk about 40% now, and a lot of people are out of work. I watched a news article, and this lady said she wasn't even able to pay for her father's funeral, and lots of her friends and family are just choosing not even to have funerals anymore. It's super sad. They literally don't have the monies to deal with the situation right now, and there's no hope in sight, really. They're technically in their phase 1 of reopening, but it's not like our phase 1. Their curfew is still in full effect. You can only go outside and exercise for half an hour a day. It's super crazy. I mean, and you don't even want to go outside a lot of the time because the riot police are pretty violent, and so there's a risk of being harmed there. Commenting on the impact that this will have on the country in terms of global participation in the future. Peru is really an up-and-comer. I mean, I chose to do Peru for my CPTPP paper as well. And so I was really introduced to the potential that Peru has in participating in the world economy. They're super interesting in their export strategy. They're super diversified, and they're in a whole ton of different sectors, majorly in mining. But just looking into it more, like their rise in superfood trading, especially in quinoa and anchovies, is huge, and they're making a huge profit off that. And then also industries that are more reliant on labor, like their financial industries and their telecommunications, are also huge. And so they're really spread out and have a lot of different resources to kind of take advantage on to kind of get the economy back on its feet again. They're really progressive in the idea of environmental, just staying environmentally friendly and participating in that and lowering their carbon footprint. They're doing a lot of things to really put themselves in the future. It's super sad to see how the pandemic has just decimated the world economy, but especially Peru. So it'll take a while before they're able to jump back on their feet again. But I really think that Peru is going to be a powerhouse Latin American country in the macroeconomic sphere in the future. I'm at 6 minutes. That's a minute over. I'll wrap it up. Thanks so much. Cheers.